I'm confused. Which path is the right one?
I'm confused too. I can't tell. Can you guys?
Nope. I'm lost. We need to pull out our discernment tools.
Great idea. Here is the map. Jason, I think you have the compass. And Joan has the binoculars.
Path discernment is critical on this trail because there are a lot of dangerous places we could end up, and a lot of dangerous creatures in some of those places. Okay, now let's first figure out where we are on the map and where we want to go.
Discernment. A special gift. Discernment is an action of detection performed with senses other than the eyes, and its operation cannot be fully comprehended from a casual investigation. Its implications run deep, and as such a deep dive methodology like word study is helpful. A word study defines the target word first, in this case, discernment. And then it defines the words that define discernment. And even dives deeper to define the words that define the words that define the discernment. Each subsequent deeper dive opens up new understanding hidden in the deep conceptual waters beneath the original word, until finally an enlightened comprehension surfaces. Let's get started with a few scriptural references to discernment to establish its place in the Christian ethos. Job 6:30 reads, "Is there any injustice on my tongue? Cannot my palate discern the cause of calamity?" Isaiah 44 verse 18 reads, "They know not, nor do they discern, for he has shut their eyes, so that they cannot see, and their hearts, so that they cannot understand." Proverbs 14 verse 8 reads, "The wisdom of the prudent is to discern his way, but the folly of fools is deceiving." Ephesians 5 verses 8 to 11 reads, "For at one time you were darkness, but now you are light in the Lord. Walk as children of light, for the fruit of light is found in all that is good and right and true, and try to discern what is pleasing to the Lord. Take no part in the unfruitful works of darkness, but instead expose them." The scriptures confirm that we need discernment in our walk with God. Solomon asked God for it in 1 Kings 3 verse 9 when he petitioned, "Give your servant therefore an understanding mind to govern your people, that I may discern between good and evil, for who is able to govern this your great people?" According to the Merriam-Webster dictionary, Solomon was asking God for the quality of being able to grasp and comprehend what is obscure. Solomon demonstrated this ability when he settled a dispute over who was the real mother of a baby, by commanding that the baby be cut in half. His endowed wisdom gave him the discernment to comprehend the obscure impact that maternal instinct would have upon the real mother versus the envious pretended mother. We see in this scripture that wisdom and discernment are linked, because Solomon requested an understanding mind, or wisdom, so that he would gain the power of discernment. It might be said that wisdom is a discernment tool. Discernment tools help us see the path ahead clearly so that we might choose the right one. Other discernment tools are trusted advisors, the Holy Scriptures, scholarly studies, revelation, prayer, faith, and so on. We will delve more deeply into some of the tools of discernment later. The process of discernment involves going past the mere perception of something and making nuanced judgments about its properties or qualities. Discernment allows one's knowledge to penetrate the cloudiness and cut through layers of confusion and ambiguity to perceive distinctions accurately. Discernment is the ability to recognize small details, accurately tell the difference between similar things, and make intelligent judgments by using such observations. Discernment is the ability to see and instinctually recognize subtle differences. Discernment in the Christian religion is considered a virtue. A discerning individual is considered to possess wisdom, and be of good judgment, especially so with regard to subject matter often overlooked by others. According to St. John of Damascus, the virtue of discernment is greater than any other virtue, and is the queen and crown of all the virtues. Let's dive deeper. If discernment is a virtue, what is the meaning of virtue? A virtue is a trait of excellence, including traits that may be moral, social, or intellectual. The cultivation and refinement of virtue is held to be the good of humanity, and thus is valued as an end purpose of life or a foundational principle of being. A virtue is a disposition to choose actions that succeed in showing high moral standards, doing what is right and avoiding what is wrong. When someone takes pleasure in doing what is right, even when it is difficult or initially unpleasant, they can establish virtue as a habit. Such a person is said to be virtuous owing to their cultivation of this habit. The fit is clear in that discernment is focused upon application of high moral standards to choose what is right. The opposite of virtue is vice. A person given to vice takes pleasure in habitual wrongdoing even to their detriment. Let's dive deeper. What is vice? A vice is a practice, behavior, or habit generally considered wrong. Vices are usually associated with a fault in a person's character or temperament as well as their morality. Christianity specifies two kinds of vice: vices that come from the physical organism as instincts, which can become perverse, such as lust, or vices that come from falsehoods in the spiritual realm. At this depth we see that discernment as a virtue moves us away from any temperament to make choices that are depraved, wicked, sinful, or corrupt. At this depth we also glean that discernment is a good of humanity, an end purpose of life, and a foundational principle of being that helps a person do, or choose, what is right, habitually. A deeper dive into defining these defining words might be helpful. Virtue, in this case, the virtue of discernment is an end purpose of life. What is meant by an end purpose? In Greek philosophy, the end purpose is described as living agreeably. Discernment, therefore, is a virtue that helps us live agreeably in the world. This is certainly true because it prevents us choosing harmful or less fruitful paths that might diminish our own or others' welfare. Diving deeper still, discernment is a principle. A principle is a fundamental truth or proposition that serves as the foundation for a system of beliefs or behavior or a chain of reasoning. In other words, it is a guide for behavior or evaluation. Discernment grows out a fundamental system of beliefs that reason there are standards of right and wrong, good and bad, better and best that can guide us in the evaluation of choices. So far, so good. Discernment is a virtue that issues from fundamental truths about right and wrong and is carried out through an evaluative process that compares alternatives to the purposes of recognized truths.